You know that feeling when you really want to dig into something? To understand it properly, beyond just the headlines? Well, that's what we try to do here.
Mhm.
And today, we're focusing on someone whose recent passing has really made people reflect in Tamil Nadu. Salahuddin Mohammed Ayub, the Chief Kazi. He passed away on May 24th, 2025. He was 84.
Yeah, it really feels like his passing prompted more than just, standard condolences. It's made people think about his role.
Yeah.
And the role of Chief Kazi in Tamil Nadu, well, it's quite significant, isn't it? He was a real cornerstone for the Muslim community there, sort of the main link to the government, handling things from, well, very personal religious matters like marriages to wider community issues, even disputes sometimes. It's a role with a lot of spiritual weight, much more than just paperwork.
Absolutely. And when you start piecing together his life story, what comes through is this really multi-layered person. He wasn't just the chief Kazi. He was a scholar, deeply invested in learning and teaching, a community leader focused on unity, and by all accounts, just a genuinely humble person through it all.
Right. So looking at these accounts of his life, what we're really trying to get at is, well, what was his actual impact? How did he shape things for the Muslim community in Tamil Nadu?
Hmm.
And maybe what can we learn from his journey?
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. His story starts in Chennai, Madras, as it was then back in 1941. And the thing that really jumps out from early on is this intense thirst for knowledge. It wasn't about, getting stuff. It was this genuine curiosity, especially about Islamic teachings and Arabic literature.
Yeah, you can almost picture it. Young kid in Madras, a really vibrant city, even then. Lots going on. But his focus was apparently quite inward, on books, on learning, while other kids were, I guess, playing gully cricket or whatever.
Yeah.
He was supposedly immersed in these texts. It suggests a real dedication from early on.
And it clearly wasn't just a phase. This dedication led him all the way to a doctorate in Arabic language and literature. Think about that commitment. Years spent mastering not just the language, but its whole literary tradition. That's serious academic work.
It really is.
Yeah.
Shows incredible discipline. And he didn't just keep that knowledge to himself. He went into teaching, became a professor at New College in Chennai. And apparently he wasn't dry about it. He taught Arabic with real passion.
Right. There's that great little story, isn't there? A former student said his way of explaining Arabic verbs was like as complex and engaging as a Bollywood plot. Now, okay, that might be a bit colorful, but it tells you something, right? He could make difficult stuff stick. How do you think he did that?
Well, that comparison, even if it's exaggerated, suggests he could find the story, the structure within the language, and then communicate that, not just the rules. Make it feel alive, I suppose, rather than just rote learning.
So then comes 2006, a big shift. He's appointed Chief Kasi to the government of Tamil Nadu. And we need to be clear, this role, it's much bigger than maybe the common idea of a Kasi just doing marriage ceremonies.
Exactly. Much bigger. The chief Qazi there is like a central figure for the whole state's Muslim community, providing spiritual guidance, yes, but also representing the community to the government. It's bridging those two worlds.
Someone described it as being like a CEO of spiritual guidance. I thought that was quite insightful. Captures the scope. He had to balance tradition with, well, the practicalities of a modern state government. And that deep knowledge of Islamic law, that must have been crucial.
Oh, absolutely crucial. That grounding in jurisprudence would have been his toolkit, really. It's not just knowing rules, it's understanding the why behind them, the principles, and then applying them thoughtfully to, well, modern life, contemporary issues. That takes real scholarly depth and sensitivity.
And you see it in his duties. Solemnizing marriages, yes, often at the big Wallajah Mosque, a real Chennai landmark. But also the less visible stuff, advising on community welfare programs, things that directly affected people's lives.
And it sounds like his office wasn't just, official and bureaucratic. It was apparently a place people went for advice, for comfort, a place to connect. Which tells you a lot about the man himself, doesn't it? Not just the position.
Definitely. And you have to imagine him navigating the Tamil Nadu bureaucracy, too. Probably needed some patience there.
He must have had that calm wisdom, that ability to handle different kinds of pressures and people.
That combination of authority and approachability seems quite rare.
It really is, especially when you're dealing with both government structures and deeply personal religious matters.
Now let's talk about this theme of unity. It keeps coming up. Nusrat Ali Khan from the Shia Sunni Unity Movement India called him an epitome of unity. That's powerful.
Extremely powerful. It suggests it wasn't just talk. He must have actively worked at it. creating dialogue, finding common ground, maybe smoothing over differences between sects or groups. That kind of bridge building takes real effort and genuine respect for others.
And it wasn't just unity within the Muslim community, right? He was also working with the state government, advocating for Muslim welfare, for education, social programs, really pushing for things.
Yeah, and apparently he kept at it, even when his health wasn't great later on. The fact that Chief Minister M.K. Stalin specifically mentioned him always showing up for iftar events, despite maybe being unwell, that really speaks to his commitment and the respect he commanded across the board.
It does. It paints a picture of someone putting the community first. And it wasn't just big events either. He had that important role announcing things like the moon sighting for Eid, keeping everyone connected to the rhythm of the religious calendar.
Right, a very traditional unifying role. But it's interesting, he also used modern tools, had a Facebook page, apparently, with quite a few followers. So he's using that to get information out, stay connected. It shows that, tradition and modern communication aren't necessarily opposed. They can work together.
Let's shift a bit to the person himself. The Prince of Arcot, Nawab Muhammad Abdullahi, described him as a great scholar and a humble man. That word humble, it comes up a lot. Why is that quality so significant in a leader, do you think?
Well, genuine humility, it tends to build trust, doesn't it? Makes a leader seem more, human, relatable. If people feel you're not driven by ego, they're more likely to connect, to listen, maybe even open up. It strengthens the whole community fabric.
And being humble didn't mean he was like a pushover. Apparently, he could handle tricky situations, disagreements, community tensions, handle them calmly, but firmly. I like that analogy someone used, comparing it to mediating disputes between street food vendors. Finding a fair solution, keeping the peace, respecting everyone.
That's a great analogy. It suggests a very practical, grounded wisdom, understanding people. And again, remember, he chose this path. He could have stayed in academia, maybe an easier life in some ways. But he opted for public service, for the community. That says a lot about his priorities.
So when the news came of his passing on May 24th, it sounds like it really hit Chennai and Tamil Nadu generally quite hard. Widespread mourning, and not just within the Muslim community.
Yeah, the descriptions of the final rituals at the Wallajah Mosque the next day, the sheer number of people who turned out, it wasn't just protocol. It felt like a real collective expression of respect and loss.
And the condolence messages came from everywhere, didn't they? Chief Minister Stalin, the Congress Party leader, the Shia-Sunni unity movement. It really highlights again how he managed to bridge divides, even political ones. That kind of widespread respect is telling.
Definitely. And holding the final farewell at the Wallajah Mosque itself, with all its history, its significance in Chennai, it just feels very fitting, doesn't it? Embodies that mix of history, faith, and community that marked his life.
Reflecting on his life, what strikes me is how his style of leadership based on knowledge, service, humility feels quite different from some of what we see today, which can sometimes feel more about noise and self-promotion, maybe.
That's a very sharp point. In a place like Tamil Nadu is so diverse, changing so fast, his ability to navigate that complexity, staying rooted in tradition but engaging with modern realities, that was a rare skill. He offered a kind of steady wisdom.
His whole life, really, from that studious boy to the Chief Kazi, it feels like a testament to what education combined with compassion can achieve.
Yeah, education not just for its own sake, but harnessed for service. That's a powerful combination.
And you think about his role helping the community balance tradition and progress, pushing for education, for welfare.
That's so important in a changing world, isn't it? Helping people adapt without losing their core identity.
Especially in Tamil Nadu in 2025, you've got economic growth, dynamism, but also challenges, cyclones, politics. Having someone like him providing that sense of grounding, that ethical compass, must have been incredibly valuable during those times.
Absolutely. Figures like him become anchors, providing stability, a sense of shared values when everything else feels like it's shifting.
So when we look back at Salahuddin Mohammed Ayub's life, it really does feel like a sort of model. A model for balancing things. Duty and humanity, scholarship and service, tradition and progress.
Yeah, maybe the core lesson is quite simple, really, but profound. Just do good work and stay humble while you're doing it.
It definitely makes you think about those values, learning, unity, kindness, how we can maybe apply them more in our own spheres.
Indeed. Perhaps the best way to honor someone like him is to reflect on his positive impact, yes, but also maybe to look around our own communities and notice the quiet contributors, the unsung people who are making a difference every day.
That's a great thought to end on. Let's take a moment then to remember Chief Kazi Salahuddin Mohammed Ayub and the legacy he leaves in Tamil Nadu.